I told my dad, and he was super supportive. And I think that when I tell my friends that my dad was more supportive than my mom, they're shocked because like, I think we tend to think that like Latino men won't accept their sons because they're gay, but no, he was like all about it.
I was being gay and you know, trying to understand like, is it wrong for me to go to church, and you know, them doing like the Bible thumping on ya. So it was always hard to navigate that, and especially being Latino and being from that, you know, masculine culture, it's forced upon you.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? I'm Erick Velasco. Welcome to Living Ready. We're going to talk about how HIV affects Latino men. I'm joined by
Alfredo Trejos.
And Fernandez.
Let's talk about masculinity and growing up Latino. Alfredo, what was it like for you?
So I grew up in Huntington Park, so Southeast LA and Boyle Heights, so like 99.99% Latinos, and it was cool just being around the culture, you know, going to church every Sunday, you know, my family trying to force me to play sports and being like the little nerd that was trying to like not do that. You know.
All the typical stuff that your Latino parents force you to do, huh?
Yeah,
Basically,
follow the culture.
I would always go to church every Sunday as well with my family, and you know, my dad would make us. And until I got older, it was just like, I don't want to go to church anymore, Dad. And that's at that time when I was finding who I was, being gay, and you know, trying to understand like, is it wrong for me to go to church, and you know, them doing like the Bible thumping on ya. So it was always hard to navigate that, and especially being Latino and being from that, you know, masculine culture, it's forced upon you.
Yeah, you guys are bringing up some really, really good points about some of the institutions in our community that have a lot of impact on us, right? So one is family, another one can be the church, for example. Generally, we don't get very positive messages about being gay from either of those, fortunately. And a lot of the roles that are kind of created for men in our community are very narrow. But that can be really difficult when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and feeling like just by being who you are, that you're already disappointing your parents as a child.
I think it's like a lot for Latinos, like, oh, we came to this country to build like a better life, right? So you're supposed to like go to school and graduate and have this career and get married and have kids and like the American dream, right? I told my dad, and he was super supportive. And I think that when I tell my friends that my dad was more supportive than my mom, they're shocked because like, I think we tend to think that like Latino men won't accept their sons because they're gay, but no, he was like all about it.
Right, so I think that's, again, that goes against the dominant narrative we hear, right? Latino fathers are cold, they're unfeeling, they're violent, they're this, and we don't get to hear these kinds of stories also. It's like both and. I know myself, when I came out at 15, that was literally the first thing my mother said to me, don't get AIDS and die. And I'm like, I literally just said I was gay. I'm here in front of you in the house, like I'm not dating anyone. I've never
with
even.
her, yeah.
That was literally the only message. It's like being gay and getting HIV/AIDS and dying were synonymous. It's like they were literally the same thing.
Yeah.
But you were saying that was a similar.
Yeah,
experience.
that was like a similar experience. You know, like my mom pulled me aside. She's all like, "Well, mijo, you know, make sure that you wear a condom, and you know, it's important because there's gay people out there that get sick." And it's called HIV, it's called AIDS, and then they die real quick. And she didn't know nothing about it, you know. Again, it was late 90s, the late 90s when we found out about HIV and stuff like that. I mean, she just wanted to look out for me, and that still showed that she still loved me.
How about for
My
you?
story was very similar to yours. I came out to my dad when I was 15, like 2008 or 7, something like that. And yeah, he was very supportive, but one of the first few things that came out of his mouth was, well, you don't want to die because you have sex with someone. So always wear a condom. And it was just like, it's sort of how you were saying, like, I was like opening up to him and being vulnerable, and it was just like, okay, but don't die. And it was just like, oh, there's so much more to being gay than just like HIV, AIDS, and dying. And like coming out to him and telling him that I'm HIV positive was so hard because the first thing he told me was, you don't want to get this virus.
In a therapeutic setting, what I would open up is, because what I'm hearing also is like, you know, when we say, for example, and I hear this from a lot of the gay male clients I work with, you know, oh, they were very supportive, but almost the first thing was a really negative message. And it's like our bar for what we consider support is so low, right? And what I always ask for all of us as gay men is like, that bar needs to be a lot higher. The challenge with being someone's child especially is, you know, via biology and our parents, we just want their love, you know, but you know, they're in the parental role, you're in the role as a child. It is not your job to try to secure your parents' love. When I work with parents, I'm like, that is your job to do. As a parent, you need to look at the ways you failed your child and the ways you need to be accountable to your children. You know, that child that was not given the love that you needed, not given the safety you needed, right? And that to me is, in terms from healing from the things we're talking about, that's a really important part of the process. So you both have been on meds for quite a while. What was that like? I think a lot of clients I work with, that's like a moment when they have to start their medication, an idea of like, okay, to stay healthy, I have to take this pill or pills every day.
So when you first get the medication, that's when, you know, reality sets in. That's like, wow, I'm living with HIV. I became positive. I did this to myself. Like, I could have done better. So much or why me? Even though I was mentally prepared or trying to prepare myself as much as possible, but looking at that bottle, getting ready to take that first pill, I was just like, okay, this is the start of a new life, a new journey, and on my way to just staying healthy. And so took the pill, and that was it, you know? And since then, I've been undetected.
Yeah, I feel like the U equals U campaign, right? Undetectable equals untransmittable. I think that was super impactful for me to find out. Like I knew that me becoming undetectable meant that like my health was protected and that I wasn't gonna die because of HIV. But then like knowing that like I can be in a long-term committed relationship with someone and that I wouldn't be able to spread the virus to them, you know, it's sort of like, oh, I'm not damaged goods. I can have like the happy ending, like, you know, like have the loving partner. Yeah, so I think that
continuing to live that quote unquote normal life, that's what it basically is, which it is. I mean, we're undetected. We cannot transmit it to anybody else or pass it to anybody else. And that's the beauty part about the advancement of medication. You know, we finally have hope, you know, and being Latino, like where can we find that hope or where can we find that love? We can find that through the clinics, through our community, by talking, by what we're doing right here. You are amazing. Like, I mean, I've known you for years, but like, man, I wish I really would have known you or, you know, been there when I was going through my transition, you know, with the pills and everything else. Because I need somebody like you in my life.
So I also really appreciate having this dialogue because you're exactly right. Having the space to meet, talk with each other, hear each other's stories. Like that's how we learn from each other. That's how we build community. And that's a resource that we can all provide for each other. You know, so I also want to say thank you both so much for the stories you've shared and your experiences. I really appreciated hearing that.
Yeah, and thank you to both of you for coming out and, you know, just joining us here and having this open dialogue and open conversation. So Ray, amazing. Thank you so much. Alfredo, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for joining us here at Living E-Ready.